everybody. It's time to crank up the truth. I'm Val Selby, and over the decades of working online, I've learned a most important lesson. Mindset owns your business. If procrastination, imposter syndrome, and a lack of focus have been blocking your biz, then I'm here with Val Full Volume, ready to help you see choices that you're making. Get ready to own your personality and use your expertise to create the business of your dreams. Now is the time to make changes and live your best life. So let's get to it. Hello. All right. Just fair warning. This might be a little bit deeper mindset for some of you. Some of you are not even going to have a problem. You're probably going to listen for a little bit and you go, yeah, this is not me. Kudos to you if it's not you. So back in episode 1, I talked about procrastination, and there are so many reasons why we could be procrastinating. I mean, just multiple different reasons, and then multiple reasons all combined together. It's just depends on where you are at in your life, experiences that you're going through right now, in your past. I mean, just the whole thing together. So I do want to address one thing that I've noticed, and I know it's something that I have also personally done. I mean, honestly, I mostly talk and about things that I have personally done, because then I can relate with you about it a lot more, right? I can relate with you more about it versus things that I've helped my clients through. But one big thing that I have lived through is the fact that procrastination could just honestly be that I'm working on the wrong biz. And how do you figure that out? It's not an easy answer usually, especially if we've hit the major procrastination stage, like it's like we're deep in it. We're not doing anything. We're not looking at our lists. We're not creating lists even, maybe not even creating plans. You're like way past neck deep in it, right? And I've been there. I've absolutely been there. And not a lot of the reasons. Okay, I'm going to pick just this topic. We're just sticking on topic, Val. Stay on topic. We're going to stay on the topic of what if your procrastination is because you're in the wrong biz? How are you going to figure out that is the issue? Because it's really freaking uncomfortable. Do you know why I've stayed in the wrong biz a lot of times? Do you know why I have a lot of businesses that are still up and just like living in internet land? Because it feels like a failure to leave them. Like, here's all of this time, all of this work, all of these amazing ideas that you know should have worked. Using should. Absolutely shouldn't on this one. All of these things should have worked. It should have been amazing. But for whatever reason, and you and I'd have to have a private conversation to figure out what the reasons are. For whatever reason, it's not working right now. Now, as I've told my masterminders, as we've had conversations and I've written to my newsletter as well, just because it's not right now doesn't mean that it has to be gone forever. And I am at a point that I've worked on my mindset that the websites that are sitting there, except for one of them, they don't pull at me like they used to. Previously, it was like an instant draw. And yeah, I still do have that one. I do still have that one, but it's a passion project. Blah, 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 blah. Telling you, I'm always a work in progress, lady. I am always a work in progress. But a lot of those other domains and such are still just sitting there, and it's okay. I did put time into them. I still have a ton of ideas. I don't brainstorm for them anymore after, the ones that I'm thinking of in my head are probably sitting there are like 8 years old now. Some of them I've actually pulled down because I don't update the WordPress. So it's not safe from hackers to not have them updated constantly. So I have pulled the databases and pulled the themes, that, custom themes, we're talking I've put money and a lot of time into some of these websites and they just didn't work. And especially the one that's popping in my head right now, it didn't work because I was working on too many things at once. I was really still stuck in that old school mentality of we create all of the niche sites. We create. And it had already been phasing out at that point, but I still had so many friends that were still making so much money off of theirs because their sites had already been making money before that transition happened that I couldn't get over the fact that it still should work. And so at that point, there was just too much going on, way too much going on. And I know I was told this. I know I was told that I needed to do one site and have it make money by multiple people, multiple coaches. I needed to focus on one site and have it make money and then work on other things. And it's absolutely true. Absolutely true. It's one of the things that I've sabotaged myself with over the years. I know that advice is true. You take one thing and you write it until it's making money. Then it's making money. Then you're outsourcing. Then you're not having to do so much of the work. Then you can bring in other stuff. But what if the one that you're putting all your time in right now is not the thing? So let's address one thing really quick about it. I think I've said one thing multiple times now. So if you're going to play a drinking game, that might be the code word today to take a shot. One thing. I'll stop saying it. I probably won't now. Now it'll totally be in my head. But the very first thing that I want to address, if you are working the biz, you've worked the biz, I'm not even going to ask you to tell yourself that you have done everything because we've never done everything. But if you feel that you have given it a really, really good try, and I mean, you feel it, not like that bullshit you tell somebody else that, oh yeah, I've done this and I've done that. I'm not talking about that bullshit. I'm talking about you feel like, yes, I've really given this a good go. And why is it not working? There are lots of different reasons, of course. But I want to address today that it might be you're in the wrong business for you right now. It could just be that simple, that it's not the right business for you and whatever you're experiencing, whatever is going on in your life, whatever your experience is, maybe it's just not the right business at this time. And having to realize that sucks. It sucks. I felt like a fucking failure when I figured that out. I'm like, well, shit, of course I couldn't make it work because I suck. That's how I felt when I got to the point where I was on these websites and I was just like, ugh, what the hell am I even doing? But then it started working through my brain that the only reason I was working on them still was because I did have the time and the money invested. And I was just like, it has to fucking work. I have to make this work because otherwise, look at all this time I've wasted. Look at all this money I've wasted. And then, I mean, like right now, you can feel it, right? I would get so pissed at myself. And then I'd be like, just sticking my heels in the ground. Well, you can't quit. You can't quit because here's what goes around in my head if I quit. Oh, well, Jesus, of course you're going to quit. Everybody will just know, well, that's one more business that Val did that didn't work. Mm-hmm. That's the bullshit that goes around in my brain and still goes around in my brain. Even though I have businesses that I'm happy in right now that are working, it still rolls around in my head on some of those websites every once in a while. It doesn't grab my attention, but it still pops in and I still have to deal with it and just tell it to shut up. But that's a big one for me. It's like, of course it didn't work. It's mine. I suck. Everybody knows I suck. Everybody knows my stuff doesn't work. Just one more biz Val failed at. But the real failure is continuing to waste time on it. That's what's helping me move past that bullshit in my head. Is once I acknowledged, hey, this isn't working. And hey, I don't even really like working on it anymore. And not analyzing why I don't like working on it, because I don't have to analyze. If I don't like working on a business, I can pivot. Ugh, I hate that word. COVID killed that word. I can pivot. There's so many things to do online. And what if it's just not right now? What if it just gets set aside and you come back to it when you have more experience, when you have more confidence? You can always come back to it. I mean, what's a domain cost you right now? I think we're at like 12 something. If you're at Namecheap's one of the cheaper ones I've ever found. That's where I buy all of my domain names. It's 12 something, 13. I think it just went up maybe 13 something for the year. I can save my databases from my WordPress. Doesn't cost me anything to save those databases and pull them back up at a later date. If I don't want to keep the site up and keep everything safe as possible from hackers, I can come back to it. It's not a waste. So pay attention. Are you in the wrong biz? Is it time to move to something else? Do you want to continue with the biz that you have right now for another year, for another 6 months? How does even thinking of that make you feel? Did you your shoulders crunch up and you're like, oh God, I can't work on this another second. But you don't even really pay attention to the fact that that's the thing. In your head, are you going, oh my God, I did not know that I was doing this, that I did not enjoy my biz anymore. Now, there's days where we don't. So I'm not talking about the days or even sometimes the week. If you're having, if you're going through some rough times, your entire biz could be just like, why the hell am I doing this? I don't want to work at all anymore, ever. Or I'm going to go get a job, a job. I'm not talking about those kind of days because those are something totally different. Those are just a full life. I don't know what the hell I want to do. Those are not just a this business kind of thing. And a lot of the time, what's bubbling up on that is something is uncomfortable that you need to do, and you don't want to do it because it's scary. And that usually means that it's the right thing to do if it's scaring you. That's what I'm learning. If I'm getting the butterflies and scared, then that means to do it. So I'm not talking about that feeling. I'm talking about my word. I'm not even excited to make my to-do list. And I realize that I've just been going through the motions. I'm not depressed about anything else. Other stuff's going pretty well, but it's just like, this business is just, I'm talking about that feeling that's going on. Pay attention. Pay attention. Is it just about that biz? Is it just about your biz? And these are questions that I really want you to ask yourself. If you are feeling like this right now, like maybe you're just in the wrong business right now, maybe it's time to do some tweaks, make some changes. You have the power to do whatever you want. It's your business. Just because you've been doing something in your business doesn't mean that you can't change at any time. That's the power of being the boss and owning your own company. It's also the scary part. But you have complete control and can change anything you want at any time without asking for permission from anyone. It's yours. So if you are feeling like maybe your business needs a complete overhaul, or maybe you just need to get the heck out of whatever you are in and do something different, take a look at what is pulling your attention away. So if you're making your to-do list and you're like, all of a sudden your brain's just kind of like flowing over to, well, but what about this? And you're like, keep trying to get your brain back. You're like, nope, that's not part of this biz. I got to keep doing this. Is there anything on your list that's been doing that? That like all of a sudden you're like, daydream over here, squirrel. Squirrels aren't all bad. I love all my squirrels. I have tons of squirrels. So pay attention. Is there something that you feel like you should be doing? Is there something new that you've learned that has got your attention because all of a sudden that's all you can talk about? That's another big one. Because the more that you are already talking about it, especially if you're in services, then the more excited you are, the more excited everybody else is going to be. And then you're going to be finding them, right? So pay attention. What's got you excited? Do you need to do any tweaks, any changes? So I do want to leave you with a couple of big questions that only you can answer. And I'm not here to talk you out of your business, obviously. If you're feeling confident in your business, you probably never made it to this far anyways in the podcast, right? But if you're not feeling confident in your business right now, I want you to answer some questions, write them out on a piece of paper, set it aside, come back to it the next day. How do you feel about your questions and your answers? Set it aside again and come back to it. It's just like, are you still feeling that way, after a while? Then it's time to be making some changes for sure. For sure. Because oftentimes when I'm asking myself a bunch of hard questions, I'll take a look at it and I'll be just like, the next day I'll take a look at it and I'll be like, girl, you were in a bad place yesterday. Let's just start over. But when there's real change that has to happen and I've like written out some tougher questions, deeper questions, and then I pull them out the next day and I'm like, oh, yeah, I feel that way today too. I'm hyper aware. Okay, I feel like that today too. Something's got to go. Something's got to change. And it definitely after a few days or a week, because I'm really working hard at not jumping into stuff. I'm still a work in progress for that. Because I am one of those. My personality absolutely is to take something and run. It definitely is. So this is why I like to ask myself the questions and set it aside. Because it helps me stay more in the moment and not just jump into things, which I've done so much in the past, which is why I had so many websites. Because I'd be like, oh, I want to do this today. I want to do that today. And then I tell myself, oh, you're a creative. That's why. It's like, yes, I am a creative. But that doesn't mean that I can't stick to one thing until I win the mega lottery. And then I'll do all of the things. See? Squirrels. So the big questions that I would love it if you would ask yourself, write down the question, write down the answer, and then set it aside and take a look at it tomorrow. Why are you working on your current biz? Now remember, there's no right or wrong answer. So let me give you the second question too. Is it for the right reasons? And what are those reasons? Okay, so I wanted those questions out first. Here is something that I found out that I did and do, I still do, with my journaling. If it's getting really deep and I don't want to deal with it, I write. I will be writing my goddamn journal pages like I'm going to post it on my blog or something. Like I'm going to be posting it in an article. Like I'm going to be posting it to social media. And I don't mean that I'm fake. I mean, I will write in my journal like somebody else is going to read it. That's what I mean. Not like I'm going to post it to all that other stuff. I will write it in my journal as if somebody else is going to read it. And so I won't get as real. I noticed this. So I noticed that all of a sudden I was just kind of glossing over topics and, talking a little bit about what was hard for me. And these are my own journals. But then I would like look over them and go, lady, that's pretty generic. Like I'd look back the next day and I'd look at it, and I'm specifically talking about my weight loss journal. We work on it every day in my coaching that I'm in. And I would go back and look at it and go, what the hell? That was not, it didn't even say anything really. And I'm like looking at it going, oh, this is not journaling. This is writing down what I think I should be writing down. I'm like, ew, this is not journaling. So what's going on, girl? So I had to pay attention to the fact that, okay, when I sit down, I have to remind myself nobody else in the world is ever going to see this. And I can write down anything and everything, no spelling, no grammar, all of the commas and all the exclamation points. I love exclamation points and I love commas. I'd prefer to just like end a partial thought, one of my squirrel thoughts, and a comma goes there. And I know part of that is because of putting content online, right? For 22 years. Part of that is that way. So I would just be writing and writing and writing. And it's like, wait, no. This is not the deep work that I knew I needed to do. This was not the deep work that was going to help me. This is not the journaling that was going to help me. So pay attention when you do write those answers down. Are you writing them as just the glob of crap that needs to come out of your head, out of your body? Or are you writing them as in you might be sharing those thoughts with somebody? Don't write it the second way. Don't write it the latter. Write it the first way. Just puke it out. Puke it out because the power's in the puke. Ew. Yes, I said that. The power is in that glob of ew that ends up on the paper. Because when you're just mindlessly writing whatever is popping into your brain, not making sentences, not caring about your handwriting, probably not even going to be able to read some of it, that's the power. That is going to tell you what you really do need to know, what you need to work through. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable as fuck because then it's down on a piece of paper. It came out of your hand. It's part of you. And there it is staring you in the face. And now you got to deal with it. Ew. Ew, ew, ew. So I know that that's why my journaling was just like, this and all that. It was because then I didn't have to deal with the real crap if I didn't write it down. I know the real crap that's in my head, right? I know it. But writing it down makes it super duper real. Kind of like when you're having a problem and you go to talk to somebody else and you don't want to talk about it because the minute you talk to them about it or the minute you tell them that something happened, that makes it real, like really real. So pay attention to what you are doing on your journal page, on your piece of paper that you are just throwing that information out on there. Try to be real. Don't write down what you think you need to be writing down, what you should be writing down, what you should be feeling about your business. Just write it down. Whatever is popping out, whether it makes sense, because tomorrow it might not make any sense, and that's okay, because that would probably mean that you are on the right track, and you just needed to get it out that there's some things that aren't working. And maybe that'll help you pivot. Said it again. Maybe that'll help you pivot with your business into something else. Who knows? But just don't overthink it when you are answering those questions. Because if you go to overthink it, then you're going to go right into that land where I told you that I've been so many times of, I'm going to do this forever. Forever. I will make this work. And it won't work. If you're forcing it, if it's not what you're supposed to be doing, it's not going to work. And it's going to feel miserable. And I don't want you feeling miserable. That's why we work on our mindset. I want you in a better place. So do the questions. If you're feeling like maybe that's part of the issue, do the questions. You can always hit me up and email bosslady@valselby.com. You can go into the comments and the show notes, but take a look. Is that why things aren't working right now? Do you need to get out? Do you need to do something else? It could be time. Just might not be the right business for you right now. Just right now. Maybe you need to go get some experience somewhere. All right. I know it got deep. That's mindset, baby. I will talk to you next week. Have a great week. Thanks for listening to Val Full Volume. If you are done spinning in circles and procrastinating, check out my quick workshop, 14 Biz Actions. Action creates change. Now go out there and create the biz of your dreams.